I'm old enough to remember just a year ago, really, because it was, talking point for the midterms, how Republicans were telling us that it is in fact the Democrat-run state, Democrats-run cities, that were soft on crime, right? We're just letting all these criminals out there do whatever the hell they want, and Democrats aren't stopping the bad guys. Well, fast forward to this week, when freshly minted new Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson admitted that it is in fact the Republicans that are trying to protect real, actual criminals here in the United States. And Johnson admitted this when he told reporters that they're working on, releasing more security footage from the January 6th Capitol riot. But what's taking them so long is that they're blurring out everybody's faces, so that law enforcement officials can't find the people who stormed the Capitol. Johnson said, quote, "We have to blur some of the faces of persons who participated in the events of that day because we don't want them to be retaliated against and to be charged by the DOJ. That's a slow process to get it done. We're working steadily on it. We've hired additional personnel to do that, and all those tapes ultimately will be out so everybody can see them and draw their own conclusions." Now, in addition to admitting that you're protecting people who broke the law, being inside of the Capitol that day was a violation of law. That is trespassing on federal property and also likely obstructing an official act of Congress. 2 felonies. So not only are you admitting that you're protecting criminals, but you also yourself likely just admitted to criminal activity yourself. Here's why. The Justice Department, the FBI, is still investigating the events of January 6th. They have not found all the people. They still need to locate people, so it is an active criminal investigation. What the Republicans are doing here, and local law enforcement as well, what they're doing here is admitting we're blurring out their faces so they cannot be identified. By doing that, you're admitting to obstruction of justice. That's how I read that. That is Mike Johnson, as far as I can tell, admitting to obstruction of justice. That's what's happening here. Let's go ahead and arrest him. Let's arrest the Speaker of the House for obstruction of justice. That's what needs to happen right now. These bastards, you understand, are trying to cover up for real, legitimate criminals who stormed the Capitol on January 6th. Because, we don't want them retaliated against. Retaliated against? You mean held accountable for their actions? That's not retaliation. That's actually how the United States justice system is supposed to work, right? You do something illegal, you get held accountable. But as we have learned, thanks to Donald Trump, by the way, Republicans no longer care about accountability. They hate accountability. They hate the truth. They hate law enforcement. They hate the justice system. They hate judges. They hate every aspect of it because they know that they are the ones that are breaking the law. They are the ones whose supporters are breaking the law. So they want nothing to do with any of it. To hell with the justice system here in the United States. That's what these bastards are doing. And if it doesn't piss you off, then you shouldn't even be paying attention to politics, I guess. But this is big and this is serious, and they're openly admitting to it because they know damn well that nothing's going to happen to them. But they're not always going to be in power now, are they? With McCarthy resigning this week, Republicans find themselves with only a 2-vote majority in the House. Maybe next November we can take that down to a Democratic majority at that point. And if that happens, Democrats need to immediately release every single unedited piece of footage from January 6th and hold these criminals responsible. Maybe also go ahead and launch an investigation into the possible criminal activity of Republicans trying to cover for these idiots.